Hey folks, this is Synthesis Movement. I'm Ken Jenkins, the physical therapist that your brother's best friend has a love-hate, mostly hate relationship with. But he's back in the gym and he's feeling great. He's all better now. Today I've got Brent Catwich with me, a nascent real estate mogul, an all-around great guy and party lover. Facts. We're gonna work on the core control upper extremity series, and what we're doing is getting the shoulder girdle and thoracic spine ready to push, ready to pull, ready to move in space, and feeling good and knowing that the shoulder and the thoracic spine are kind of all one piece and they have to work as a team. So without further ado, I'm gonna show you some movements to get those shoulders ready. We're gonna start in very much the same way that we do with our core control lower series, a little band work, a little quadruped work. We've got our toes tucked underneath, our knees stacked underneath our hips, and then we're gonna put on our band kind of like a jacket, all right? We're gonna throw that up and over the arms and wrap it around the back. We wanna be underneath the shoulder blades, kind of packing those down. I'm gonna plant my hands on the ground. I've got the band across my palms, and I'm gonna sit back to my heels while the band pulls me into a little emphatic extension here. I've got my spine arching. I'm gonna bounce in and out of that, breathing through those patterns 10, 12 times. I'm gonna sit back to my end range and I'm gonna arch my back, round my back. Do those nice round baker's dozen. And then I'm gonna hit a few of these little motions. Now, if you're not in a good position, this band will roll right up your back. So you wanna make sure that you're nice and extended through the thoracic spine. You wanna reach up and forward. We're gonna hit maybe 6 on each side. And then we're gonna go out to the side, maintaining tension through the shoulder, maintaining tension through the whole complex, feeling that glenohumeral joint centrate, stabilize, pat tight. I'm gonna let Brent do that so you see what it looks like. So real quick, let me have you turn around to the camera so we can see the back. We want the band right across this mid back here, just below the shoulder blade. We've got the shoulder blade angle down here, so we're kind of coming down to the mid back, and that's going to travel a little bit up and down, but he's going to get down into his hands and knees position. And as he sits back, we're going to let that band help emphasize that extension. So now you come forward, the back will kind of straighten out here, and then as we sit back, we can get that little extension position. Great. That thing doesn't want to move too much, does it? It's all right. We have the medicine. We got the technique. So we'll do a dozen, kind of bouncing in and out. We're not spending a ton of time in any given position here. Now, commonly what we'll see is, as you can see, Brent has kind of fixed this along his thumb. We're gonna bring that actually up and across the palm here because it gives us a little bit better input through the wrist, through the shoulder joint, and into the thoracic spine. It's all one piece, team. So we get a dozen or so of those. We'll finish sitting back against our heels, and we're just gonna move through the thoracic spine here, arching the back, rounding the back. So give me some arches and rounds. It looks great. We see the whole system kind of globally moves and compacts. We're using the breath to kind of drive this, so he's breathing in as he opens up his spine, breathing out as he closes the spine down. This helps teach the ribs to move as the lungs expand, helps teach the diaphragm that its job isn't to stabilize the spine, its job is to help move the air in and out. And it teaches us that it's okay to be in an extended position, it's okay to be in a flex position under load. Those look great, man. So we'll come to our extended position, and we're gonna reach straight forward. Now you can see that if he's not maintaining a good extended position, this band wants to ride right up. It'll grab you right in the back of the head. It's not fun. Come on back down. And we'll get a little bit better position. What we wanna do is really drive the shoulder blade down the back. We wanna get a little bit more extension here. And now he brings his arm up. And we got very little travel, very little disruption. And we have a better position. We have better recruitment through the structures around the shoulder. And you can see these starting to get a little shape going on. Feel good?
Yeah.
It's definitely talking. And we'll go out to the side as well. Now, because we've got this tension running all the way across the body, when he brings this arm up off the ground, it's no longer loaded. This one has to necessarily stabilize a little bit more densely, and we have a little bit of compaction into the body through this glenohumeral, this scapulothoracic joint, pulling all the tension across the shoulder. So we have this whole complex recruiting more effective. Those look fantastic. How do you feel?
Good.
Yeah. Warm. All right, I'll trade you. Thanks, sir. So we'll follow that up. We'll come into a little bit of a lunge pattern. We'll throw one foot out, and on our lead leg, we're just gonna sneak that band right underneath the heel, and then we'll lace that up along the arm. What we're gonna be able to do from here is this nice tall torso, this eyes ahead, shoulders back and down position, is press that band up alongside the ear. We've got a nice extension all the way through this side of the body, driving down into this hip, creating tension on this side, working on some unstable load through the trunk, pushing it all into the same system so that we're working as a unit. We'll hit about 5 or 6 of these, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw a little bit of a windmill pattern in here. If you follow this into our shoulder series, you'll see that we revisit the windmill from a standing position. So we're priming that pattern here by looking at our hand. We're gonna put our free hand on the underside of our thigh, and we're just gonna glide through while we sit back. Trying to keep this upside arm pointed at the ceiling. The body is moving underneath, and we're rotating under for that big tension creation, that spiral tension all the way through the system. We'll do 5 or 6 of each of those movements on each side. We're gonna let somebody that doesn't do it all the time show you what it looks like at home.
All right, I was focusing on the first one. What's the first one?
The first one, we're gonna lunge, 1 foot forward. We're gonna wrap the band underneath the heel. Fantastic. I'm gonna bring that arm to the outside. The band is on the outside of the elbow here. And then he's just gonna press straight up towards the ceiling. Great. And the thing that we can play with here is we can kind of get a little bit of rip pull. Good. We can sit back in that back leg, not a hinge so much as a more upright position. Good. There we go. And then pressing through that arm. Feel this far side of the leg really talking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's home. he's waking up. Fantastic. And we want to be respectful and courteous to our wrists. We want to be cognizant of them. So we don't have to be fully knuckles up to the ceiling, but we don't want to be bent all the way over into a little bookshelf position. So we're going to go kind of in the middle of those guys. So we've got a nice position for the wrist. It's not getting overloaded through the soft tissues. We're letting the muscles stabilize rather than the joint tissues. Push from there. Fantastic. So we'll do 5 or 6 of those, and then we'll bring that arm up nice and tall. His other hand is gonna go on the underside of his thigh here. And he's gonna sit back as he reaches through that arm. Ooh, baby. Remembering to breathe, because when we hold our breath, we get stuck. Now, did he figure out the position or did he breathe that time? Maybe some of both. Remembering that when we hold our breath, we drive a whole bunch of pressure into the upper extremity. We keep the vagus nerve all activated, agitated. We release a whole lot more stress hormone into the system, and that tells the body that, hey, these positions are kind of dangerous. What we want to do instead is tell the body, these positions are fine and safe, and we can manage them easily. We have control here. So if this feels unsafe, then we need to back off and work on a little bit shorter range of motion, or do the pattern without the load. Those look great, man. So we'll do those on both sides. We'll prime up both obliques, and then we'll move over to the wall to get our last piece. So we've moved over to the wall, and you'll recognize this if you've already done the core control lower, or if you haven't, something to look forward to, a little preview. We're gonna do a little fixed rotation piece. So we're gonna kneel down, we're gonna use something rigid, something stiff to hold between us and the wall. This can be a roll of paper towels in the plastic. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I've got a little short foam roller, and it fits just right. From here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach forward with my inside hand, maintaining some tension against the wall, and when I get to my end range, big breath in, front to back, top to bottom, side to side, circumferential, everything expands. We breathe out. Once again, using the breath to tell the body this is safe, this is okay to do, and that we can get a little bit further than we're maybe giving ourselves credit for. We'll sweep this inside hand against the wall. It ends up pointing towards the ceiling. This outside hand now sneaks between us and the wall. Using the breath to overdrive that a little bit, get a little emphasis, get a little bit more motion. Now, since we're already in this position and we're really targeting the thoracic spine, we're gonna add in a little bit of load here. We're gonna add in a little bit of articulation here. So I've got a little 14-pound wall ball. Anywhere from 8 to 14 is probably plenty of load. We just want something that's a little bit of weight and a little bit of density for us to pull up against the chest, crossing the arms, pulling it in tight. So I'm gonna do the same motions now, but because I'm constrained by the ball, all that motion, all that breath has to go into the back of the lungs, has to open up through the back of the ribs. And I'm still trying to rotate just as far, but now I don't have my arms to help me out, so I've got to get a lot more recruitment going on from the obliques. We'll rotate towards the wall, and we've got a little bit of a barrier. So I'll breathe in, and I'll breathe out and rotate this ball up and over. Trying to get all the way to the other side. May not happen today. It's okay if it doesn't. We just want to feel that spine moving. All right, and obviously we're gonna go both sides, so we're gonna get all the rotation both directions. So Brent, show us how it's done. Show it what it looks like. Yours has to be just as good as mine.
Yeah.
So the reason we're using this little drive into the wall here is to get a little bit more adductor, a little bit more of this lower diaphragm, pelvic musculature firing up here. He's gonna reach forward. He's gonna lean back. He's gonna get this arm open, and then he's gonna push through that inside arm and try and get a little bit more rotation. We're feeling some ribs talking here. Yeah, a little bit of intercostal, a little bit of nervous system. Good. And you can see when he holds his breath a little bit, it kind of hangs up, but as soon as he releases that breath, we can go further. And we'll alternate here, so this inside hand will now sweep up and over. We'll bend the elbow. He's gonna sneak between himself and the wall. Big breath in. Breathe out, reach, rotate, getting those ribs moving away from the spine. With this alternating inside-outside pattern, we're teaching the ribs and the spine to rotate both directions without the significant bias that we tend to develop when we just do things one way at a time. That looks fantastic, man. Now we do 4 or 5 of these on this side, we do 4 or 5 on the other side, and then we would move on to using our ball. So we'll grab the ball now. So we're gonna pull that in tight to the chest. He's got his arms crossed up. We're creating a lot of compression through the front, and then he's breathing, and that's expanding the ribs back here in the back. He's gonna turn away from the wall. Ooh, yeah, right? As he turns into the wall, he's gonna extend back, try and lift that ball up and over. And he gets a little hung up there at the end. So it's a nice, we can tell when we get to our finishing position, we can tell when we start to get hung up against the wall, but it's also something that gives us a good earmark for when are we starting to make progress, getting a little bit further through that motion. Now, if this does not feel good, if this feels uncomfortable, if it feels a little bit lightheaded or a little bit spotty, then let's just back off the intensity, maybe use a smaller ball, and just work on starting to get the motion rather than going real intense all out of the gate. All right, that feel all right?
Yep.
All right, team, so that is, you can drop that stuff. That is our core control upper extremity preparatory system. We're getting the thoracic spine, the shoulder girdle all working, all tied together, tuned in, ready for load, ready for action. You feeling warm?
Feeling good to go. Good to go.
Feeling pretty ready, okay? I hope that you find it very efficacious. I hope that you find it that it helps you feel better during your day. Join the movement, share it with your friends. I hope that you are enjoying yourself and feeling healthy and feeling well. Have a wonderful afternoon, day, evening, whatever, all right?
Appreciate it.
Be good out there. All right, folks, that was part of the synthesis movement system. It is a continuum, so we start at the beginning, the spiral primer, and we work our way along. We'll have more videos in the future, pending feedback and support. If you find something that you need answers to, if you have a burning desire to know more, hit us up in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share all the stuff. Use the algorithm to our advantage to get the word out that this is the program that is helping people feel better. If you found this video useful, and if you can afford it, go to patreon.com/synthesismovement to help us continue this program, continue this project. Join the movement. Let's get people moving well towards health.